We all
need the
a
phone
phone
since everybody's here.
Gotcha, okay. The meeting of the Anderson County School District 2 Board of Trustees meeting will please come to order. And I would like to say something, and Jimmy had asked me to also. Last Monday, we lost a fellow board member, Mr. Stu Shirley. We are indeed saddened by his death and his loss on our board. At this time, I would like for us to take a moment to remember Mr. Shirley and honor his work in our community. I am asking that we all continue to pray for Stu's family as they move through the days, weeks, and months ahead. Thank you. Julia, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance tonight?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everyone got a copy of the agenda. Do we have a motion that it be approved as sent?
So moved.
Second?
Madam Chairman, I'd like to ask that we amend the agenda. I had sent you an email on Thursday on several things that I would like to be added, one of which we've already done with the moment of silence. Also, I asked for a vote on ending Dr. Rosenberger's administrative leave, which can't be done in executive session. I know you said everything could be done in executive session, but that vote can't be done in executive session. It has to be done in open session.
Can I bother you just one,
Sure.
stop you just a minute? Is that correct, Mr. Childs? Did you hear what?
Yes, that you can't vote in executive session. Yes, that's correct.
That would have to be done in.
It's also a factor that while this seems silly, it's not on the agenda. And this is a major issue.
And that's why I'm asking to amend the agenda at this
And you
point.
know, the law is right now that there has to be a finding of a real emergency to justify amending the agenda. Is that language pretty correct?
But you asked for
And
this last week.
But I asked for it last week, and I would say this is an emergency since graduation is coming up, and we wouldn't have a superintendent at graduation. Also, the other thing I asked for was a discussion of the board vacancy. I understand that can be done in executive session, but I was really kind of caught off guard today when I received an email that has already been sent out to the county board and everyone else discussing the board vacancy. It hasn't been approved by the board, and to me that's violation of policy BBAA. So I would like to make a motion that we amend the agenda in those.
Excuse me, just a minute. I did tell you that it would be on the agenda,
That's correct.
and we did have it on the agenda.
But the letter that was sent out was done without board approval. There was no board approval on sending a letter out asking to fill the vacancy.
And Mr. Childs, did you know about this letter before it went out?
I knew the matter had been discussed.
So you discussed it with
Not-
Go ahead, Ms. Cohen.
Mr.
I was
Childs?
asked if it was legal, and it is legal. There's no legal problem with it.
So you knew it was gonna go up before the board voted it?
I knew it was gonna go out, yes, today.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I'm not understanding what you're saying, Kevin.
I'm saying, he brought up wanting to talk about it and put it on the agenda. You wouldn't do it, but yet you talked with the board attorney without our being present. And you violated a board policy that clearly states how we're to elect. You was part of the board when Danny Hawkins passed away. You know what the procedure was.
No,
You did not follow.
Excuse me,
Yeah,
may I ask a question?
Go ahead.
When Mr. Hawkins passed away, I remember because I was interested in applying at the time, but I had some health issues. And I remember being very surprised that the applications were to be brought to the district and be voted upon and selected by the board. Because my understanding is that it is supposed to be done by the County Board of Education. So my interpretation is that what you sent out is what we're supposed to be doing. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Also, it is my understanding, and you correct me, that Mr. Oops, you sent to Ms. Cooley an email that basically stated that you knew that we would not be able to agree on.
That's correct.
And so you basically said to her, because we can't agree on this, that your suggestion would be to go ahead and just let the county board be in charge of this.
Correct.
And what, Brenda, you correct me if I'm wrong, you, felt like that rather than for the board to argue and it become a point of contention, another point of, you just felt like that it would be best for you to go ahead and make the decision. And when we asked if that was appropriate, you said that that would be fine.
It was legal.
Because it is her prerogative as the board chair to do so.
Actually, in my email,
She's just done exactly what you asked.
actually, in my email to Brenda, I did say that I felt like it would be very difficult at this time for the board to make a decision on one candidate to send to the county board. And I felt like it would be appropriate for the county board to make that decision. But that was my suggestion. I don't think that can be done without a vote by the entire board.
We'll make a
And
motion then.
Board policy, BBAA states, because all power of the Board of Trustees lies in action as a group, individual board members exercise their authority over district affairs only as they vote to take action at a legal meeting of the board. In other instances, an individual board member, including the chairman, will have power only when the board, by vote, has delegated authority to him or her. My complaint is, we didn't vote as a board to give authority to send an email out on the vacancy.
Do
Should
you
have
have the
been
board
done
policy
here.
for replacement?
I'm sorry?
Do you have the board policy for the replacement?
Yes, ma'am. I've read it. Board policy replacement says that the county board will make the decision
Okay.
in instance of any,
Then
which I
what's the
have,
need to even to vote?
which
mean,
I
if
have
that's
no-
what you're supposed to do.
no
that's all I'm
problem with
asking.
it. But I think, since I asked that we discuss it, and it should have been voted on before it was sent out, period. That's my complaint. So I make a motion that we amend the agenda as stated.
A second.
Could you please state what the amendment is?
The amendment is, one, to vote on the ending Dr. Rosenberger's administrative leave, which can't be
Excuse
done
me,
in
wouldn't we
executive
need to
session.
discuss that in executive session?
No, that
first?
can't be done in executive session. You cannot vote on,
A contract.
I'm sorry?
You vote on the contract then.
You cannot-
You discuss it, don't you?
The subject can be discussed in executive session.
It can be
You can't
discussed,
vote.
but you can't vote on in executive session.
But then can we
Yes.
not discuss it in
Yes.
executive session and then bring
Well,
it back out for a vote?
Again, I didn't think there was any reason for us to discuss in executive session because we would end up disagreeing. So rather than end up disagreeing, why not just vote, which that's what we're gonna do
May I make
anyway,
a
in
suggestion?
open session.
In all due respect, I have something to discuss in executive session that may change your mind. That's all I'm saying. May I please have the privilege to discuss it in executive session And then, if you wish to do a vote to amend and vote under item 10, action items, I have no objection.
I didn't hear the last part.
You wanted to vote about reinstating
That's correct.
Dr. Rosenberg. All I'm saying is, if you wanted to do that, I would not object to be it in item 10, after executive session.
I would prefer just going ahead and voting and
Not until I
and get it
discuss
over with.
something in
And
executive
then
session.
the other thing was the board vacancy, but that's already been done, so, I don't know what any discussion would do other than make things worse if we did that, so. That's my suggestion on on my motion to amend the agenda. Number one, vote on ending Dr. Rosenberg's administrative leave, and two, actually, there's no other thing to vote on unless y'all want to vote on the letter, but it's already been sent, so I don't know. I don't understand.
I would like for the letter that is sent to be revoked, and we vote, and then send something to the council.
But Jimmy, wouldn't it be the same if you do the vote? I mean, all you're doing is asking anybody that lives in that area, right? That might be interested. Is that not the same as what you're saying?
That would be, I mean, all I'm saying is to follow board policy and let the county board handle the period. There's no reason to send out
Well, how does?
that would be them, I
I'm
mean,
just
to me,
saying,
that
the
would be their
county
responsibility.
wouldn't know who would be interested, and they,
Well, that's what I
if
said.
they interview them, then they don't pick the best one.
Well, if you want to make a motion to amend the agenda, go ahead and make the
I
motion to
just
amend it.
did.
And then we'll just vote, and whatever the vote is, then we'll be all
Fine.
Please
satisfied
make
with
it
That's all
two
I'm asking
separate
for.
motions.
That's all I'm asking for.
Okay, please make it two separate motions, so we're not discussing the item on Dr. Rosenberger and the thing to the county board as one motion.
No, we're making a motion to amend, so both of his points have to be amended.
So make a motion to amend the agenda.
Okay, I would like to make a motion that we amend the agenda, number one, to vote on ending Dr. Rosenberg's administrative leave, and number two, to no longer, there's no reason to vote on the, letter that was sent to the county board and to all of us, and I think the newspaper and everyone else, this afternoon.
So you're withdrawing that portion?
No, I said that, both of them. I'm asking that we vote on sending that letter, on whether or not we should send that letter, and vote on ending Dr. Rosenberg's administrative
I
leave.
amend your motion, please, to discuss Dr. Rosenberger's contract and or to discuss Dr. Rosenberger's administrative leave before we come back and do any action on that. There is
I just
significant
Make the
information.
motion, make the motion, make whatever motion.
I make a motion.
Then we're waiting on the second.
I'll second it. I will second it as the motion is made with both items in it.
Okay.
We have a motion and we have a second with both items. All in favor, please raise your right hand. All opposed? It doesn't pass. All right.
Madam Chairman, I have a question. Who's the gentleman sitting back there?
Excuse me for not introducing him previously. This is Peter Coots, who is with the Boykin Law Firm. And the board, when they designate me as district attorney, also gave me the authority to associate people from either of two firms. And since Mr. Boykin has lived in Anderson, county and is very familiar with the community, I thought he was an ideal person to discuss this with. He couldn't be here tonight. He's asked Peter to be here. Just briefly, by introduction, he's a graduate of the Hastings Law School, which is one of the best in the country. He has worked for the Los Angeles School District. Before, he also worked in the Boykin firm for the last several years, has been with the State Department of Education in South Carolina, and has now rejoined the Boykin firm. And so he's here tonight because there's so much going on. I didn't want to be here by myself.
I would like to, you started out to approve the agenda, but we did not finish. Mr. Roots wanted to amend it. We need to vote on approving the agenda.
On the adoption of the agenda.
Yes, you had a motion and a second, if I remember, if
All
I heard
in favor
correctly.
of the adoption of
Who was the second? I made the motion.
I don't think it was a second, I think it's just a
Okay.
motion.
Dr. Barnes has made the motion to adopt the agenda, and no one has seconded it.
I second it.
All in favor of adopting the agenda as presented? All right,
And
our
we-
next,
Excuse me.
You have
You had.
the ones that are against,
Against
please.
the agenda, you didn't ask.
Bill, how about you just sitting over there, okay?
Excuse me, I asked that we did not vote, you have to ask for both votes, Mrs. Cooley.
Yes, I do. Second,
No,
motion,
we're voting, you
all in
vote,
favor? No,
You got 3 in favor,
thank you.
who's against?
All right,
we have.
Ms.
a
Cooley.
vote.
this isn't, listen, we,
Mr. Charles, will you help us out, Mr. Cadet, will you help us out in this situation? Because what is gonna happen is, we'll shut down the meeting and go home, is basically what they're.
You won't have your first reading of your budget.
I would suggest that Mrs. Barnes, Dr. Barnes, withdraw her motion, and then you should reconsider this, because if you proceed without adopting the agenda, it leads to chaos and confusion
Yes.
in the minutes and the other items that need to be addressed tonight. So
I withdraw my motion, Madam Chair.
so what do we do now?
well, I would entertain a motion that we not adopt the agenda.
I make a motion that we do not adopt the agenda.
Do we have a second? All in favor of not adopting the agenda, please raise your right hand. All opposed?
Will. So we
So
stop,
do we go
we stop the
home?
meeting and go home.
No, there's been no motion to adjourn, and there's no.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Madam Chair, I suggest you move it out of order. We've said, we've got a Freedom of Information Act problem here. We've said to the public, this has been widely distributed, that we were gonna meet tonight and address these issues. And I advise the board to proceed to address these issues.
You know, we didn't know we was gonna have a second lawyer in here tonight either.
Well,
Are
to
you
me,
gonna not approve the BHP graduation? I mean, we're not gonna meet until after June 4th.
We can make it anytime.
I'm advising the board to proceed with this. I think you have a FOIA problem if you don't proceed with an agenda that you've told the public you're gonna meet, consider.
Let me ask this question.